Okay, if you haven't watched the training video on setting up an insurance carrier, you want to do that first before you watch this video. Now this video is optional. What we're doing here, or what you're going to be trained on, is how to take out that extra step and get your EDI agreements out faster and sooner. Let me explain it this way. As you recall in the training video on insurance carrier, that Blue Cross Blue Shield here of Utah needed an EDI agreement approved by Blue Cross for us to submit claims electronically through McKesson to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah. Now, these agreements need to be filled out. You can either tell AdvancedMD you need this agreement, then of course they'll log into McKesson, print it off, mail it to you. You'll have the doctor fill in the rest of the information, sign it, mail it back to AdvancedMD, and then they'll go ahead and process it onto McKesson. What I'm about to show you here is taking out that step. Instead of waiting for AdvancedMD to log into McKesson and print it off and mail it to you, how about if you log into McKesson, go ahead and fill in the fields, print it off, hand it to the doctor to sign, and then mail it off to AdvancedMD. You cut out on waiting for AdvancedMD to send you those agreements. So let's get started. Now this is the example we're using is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah, and you can see an agreement is required. So the first thing I want to do is go down in the lower right hand corner and click on the clearinghouse website link because we do want to log into McKesson. Now the reason why I say log into McKesson because in the past training video on setting up insurance carriers you saw that we didn't have to log into McKesson to take a look at those reports to get the 4-digit CPID number. But in order to be able to look at the agreements so you can fill those out and get those started, you have to register with McKesson, so I will click on the register link and show you how to do that. First of all, take you to a page here where you want to read the disclaimer, and if you accept it, scroll all the way to the bottom and click the accept button. And of course read over the information up at the top and fill in the fields down below, and basically the only thing that you'll need from AdvancedMD is your submitter ID. To do that, you want to go back to AdvancedMD, under the Master Files menu, down to Submitter Types. Click on the Codes Ellipsis button, and double-click on one of the two, McKesson Group or McKesson Provider, it doesn't matter, because the submitter ID will be here in this box. If it's not in the box, it probably more than likely means that your office key is really new, and it usually takes about 3 to 4 days here. If it's not here and it's been longer than that, you may want to contact support and ask them where the submitter ID is. Otherwise it'll be displayed here. Go ahead and write it down, close out, go back to McKesson, and in the form field here go ahead and type in your submitter ID, fill out all the fields, and then when you're finished click submit. And then it will be about 48 hours before you receive an email from McKesson with your user login name and password. So we'll close out of here and pretend it's been 48 hours, after which we'll come back down again and click on the clearinghouse website link. And then this time we're going to log in and click on the login link. And then of course down below here type in your user ID and then your password, and then hit enter or click on the login button. Now once you logged in, you're going to scroll down here to the heading of Claim and Remittance, and we're going to look at 3 reports here. Of course, your professional claims, commercial, and state, so we want to fill out any agreements that are required to submit claims electronically that we looked on the report back in the training video on setting up an insurance carrier. And then finally, here is your remittance advice report, and that's if you want to get your EOBs back electronically in the software here, or ERA, Electronic Remittance Advice. But first, let's focus on the 2 reports here. And in this case, for this example, we need to fill out an EDI agreement for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah to submit claims electronically. So click on the adjacent report link. Now this report looks exactly like the report that you saw in the video setting up insurance carriers. The only difference is that now that you've logged in with the username and password, McKesson's going to give you access to their agreements here. See the little Y's there? So anytime you see one that needs an agreement, now that you're logged in, you can actually click on it and fill out the agreement. So first we need to go to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah, so I'll click Control F, type in Utah, and hit enter, and then close out of that. Scroll down just a little bit. There's Utah Blue Shield, and I want to fill out the agreement here by clicking on the Y for yes. Now the agreements are outlined here in Acrobat. This is version 8, and in the upper right hand corner where it says highlight fields, I like to click on it once to unhighlight it and click it again so it actually captures any fields that are required will be outlined in red. Now down below you're going to see that I've got 3 boxes to choose from: Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah, or is this for Utah Medicare, or Blue Shield FEP. This is for Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I'll check the box there, and there's the CPID number if I want to double check, 2412. And then basically what I'm going to do is scroll through here and fill out online electronically all the fields that I can. And then of course when I'm done, I'll print this out and have the doctor sign it. But let's go through this real quick. So I'll scroll down and you can see that those boxes outlined in red are required. Some of these things you're not going to fill out, but Advanced MD will do it for us. So we definitely wanted to check which carrier up at the top here we wanted to fill this agreement on. And then scrolling down further, we're going to leave these fields blank except for the customer contact. We're going to type in enrollments. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit so I can make it larger so we can see it. Let's scroll down just a bit. And the customer email you're going to type in is enrollments@advancedmd.com. Okay, so those are the only two things we need to fill in to begin with. And then scroll down more, and you're going to type in basically all the information about the provider. And where it says the name of group, if the provider isn't billing as a group, you can hover over it. It's basically saying, look, give us at least the provider's name. So fill that in, hit the tab, and then just go through that using your tab key. Contact person, the provider's contact name. And usually on most of these agreements, the contact person is the one that McKesson wants to go to if there's any problems with the EDI agreement. So I could type in my own name here. And of course fill in the provider's phone number, fax number. The fax number could be my number, because maybe, again, if there's issues, I want them to fax me and not the provider. And, of course, for the provider's phone number, who do we want to contact if there's any issues about the agreement? So that could be me as well. So looking for the provider's address, city, state, go ahead and fill those out. And then be sure to check the boxes even though they're not highlighted. Please check one as your practice filing as a group or individually. If you have a group provider number, go ahead and enter it in here. And of course the provider's tax ID number. You'll enter in the provider's name again here, and then of course you'll fill in their 14 numeric Blue Shield ID number for Utah. And if there was a group, you'd enter in all the rest of the providers down below. Now Medicare over here, again, remember this agreement is for the three. Blue Shield of FEP of Utah, just regular Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah, and Medicare. So if we went up at the top, uncheck Blue Cross, and then check Medicare, then of course we would fill this side in over here. But it's for Blue Cross, so we'll skip it. Now I'm not going to be able to cover everything because each state's going to be different on their agreements, but again, for the most part, you just want to fill these out to the best of your ability when it comes to the e-claims, and then once you're finished, you can click on the Save button and save it to your computer, and then make any changes you need to, and then print it off, hand it to the doctor, have him sign it if it requires a signature, and then that's it. All you need to do now is take all these agreements that you have, stuff them in an envelope there, and mail them off to enrollments or attention enrollments at Advanced MD. Then what they'll do is once they get that, you want to make sure you let them know that you want them to double check to make sure everything's correct. Then all they do is submit it on to McKesson. And then when I'm finished, I can click on the back button and go to the next one if I have any others that require agreements by clicking on the Y. And it's the same thing. I mean, if you close out of here, you do need agreements for your commercial carriers. You'll click on the report and click on the links that have Y there to fill out agreements on there as well. So go through, fill out all the e-claims for commercial and state that require an agreement, and if the doctor needs signatures, be sure to have them sign it and send it off.